Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Talking Dogs with Ante. Actually, the last interview in this absolutely horrible 2020. In a way, I'm excited to have this interview as the last one. And in another way, I'm excited that this year, hopefully in 2 days, is going to be finished. And that I can't imagine that it can go worse than this. Anyhow, first, before we start anything, I would like to thank to all of you who were sending messages and everything about the horrible earthquake that happened yesterday in Croatia. Luckily, we live about 45 kilometers from the epicenter, so nothing very dangerous happened except that it was shaking a lot. But we are all very stressed because they say in the last 48 hours there have been more than 40 earthquakes. So generally speaking, we are shaking all the time. But we must be obviously grateful because people who have been near to the epicenter, many of them have lost their homes and everything that they have done during their whole life. And in another way, I want to say thank you to all the pet food companies and all the dog people who have organized themselves quickly and managed to send a lot of dog food and and things for the people who lost their homes. That only says that we dog people really, when it matters, we can really organize ourselves and make great things. Anyhow, from the bad things, let's go to the nice things. I like to be optimistic. I like to have the things happy and cheerful. I must say, first of all, thank you to Beltran for this new intro video with the holiday theme, which is absolutely beautiful. And my guest tonight, first of all, he's a happy person. And second of all, he has a very happy breed. So I'm sure that we are going to have a lot of fun. Good evening, Jose. Good evening to Portugal. Good evening to your beautiful basset hound on the sofa. She seems to enjoy it. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. And listen, I want to thank you the honorable invitation for this interview, and I also want to send our prayers to all the Croatians that were affected with this horrible earthquake. I was looking at the television, and also I was looking for some pictures that Jadranka posted on her Facebook page with some golden retrievers, a golden retriever rescuing people from the remains of a building. So this is another pro for pedigree dogs. You know, I always say that our ancestors, they create pedigree dogs for a reason, and here is one of the reasons.
Absolutely, Jose. I wanted to thank you for reminding me about this. It is actually amazing all the footage that we have get yesterday from the affected areas with all these dogs that are trained, to find people in these kind of situations. And we had actually a lot of TV coverage about these dogs that are working all day and night trying to find people. And as you said, this is one big thing also that we can use as a promotion of also purebred dogs, but dogs in general, because they have proved to be really man's best friend, and in so many situations we cannot imagine our life without them. Before we start, I would like, as always, to ask all of you who are active on social media to post the photos of the screen that you are watching the interview. You can put it on Facebook and tag me. You can put it on Instagram and tag me. You can use hashtag Talking Dogs with Ante. I'm going to share all these images later on. Obviously, it's nice to see when it's a lot of people watching, and share it on social media to get more people. We have, Jose, already around 140 people watching, and it seems that you are very popular because in the first 7 minutes of the interview we got already 38 comments. So before I start with my questions, let me catch on a few of them. Well, I have already lost some because there are too many. so please don't take it bad if I don't see them all. But Helena is saying boa noite de Portugal. Nicola is watching from the UK. Joey from Switzerland. Una from Ireland. Andrew Brace is saying our Wi-Fi is down, so let's hope the personal hotspot holds up. Well, we hope so. Svetlana is watching from Ukraine. Alex from Mexico. Rui is saying Portugal is watching. Jose Homem de Mello and Ante Lucin. Zufia is saying good evening to all colleagues. Hello from Russia. Chetan is saying you look happy, mate. Ante last interview. Francesca saying buonasera. Caroline from UK. Andrea saying hi. I've been counting the minutes for another super interview. Oliver is watching us also from the one floor down. Claudio De Giuliani saying Jose, super breeder and a nice person. I cannot forget my first Basset Hound, De La Rilica, 1976. So people, Annika Ultveit Moe, good evening, both of you. Looking forward to the evening. A lot of comments, Jose, already. People watching it from all around the world, as usual. Don is saying 2020, the year Teresa remembers what Jose looks like. Love to you both, my friends. Happy New Year. So anyhow, there are a lot of comments. I will try really, Jose, to catch on all of them. Well, I cannot catch obviously on all of them because you are some kind of a superstar with 56 comments in 10 minutes and 150 people watching for the moment. So I will try to catch on all the comments, but I want to tell you all, I appreciate incredibly all the comments that we get, all the questions that you will have for Jose. I will try to read them. And obviously, as I said, please share it on your social media so we get more people. It's always more fun when there is a lot of people watching. Jose, I want to ask you something connected to this comment that Teresa saw a lot of you during this year. I want to ask you when it was the last show that you judged this year, and how much did your life change with this pandemic?
Listen, the last show was here in Portugal because we had a window, in September that the cases went down. And we had a show, Amelia organized the show in Aveiro that was very successful. Everything was wonderfully organized, social distance, masks, and we had no infected people. So I think that everything went well. But the previous one was Crufts. So I had two shows, March
and September.
And September. And then, I've been at home. I was lucky because I had a litter on the 7th of February. So I retired last year. As you know, I was a publisher. My family has a publishing company. I still own some shares from the company, but I retired last July 2019. So I reduced the number of dogs, and I don't have any kennel boy because I used to have a kennel boy full time to take care of the dogs. So I was.
So now you are the kennel boy.
Now I'm the kennel boy. I start today picking up poops.
Yeah, and you finish it in that way.
Yes, and feeding the dogs. But, I really enjoy it. So I was lucky because, there was always something to do. And then some of the dogs that I sent abroad, I think that they were born in February, and the last one that went out was in August. Because we couldn't get out of Portugal. There was everything was difficult to travel. So I've been at home, and as they say,
it was not so bad.
It's happy.
And what I wanted to tell you, I know this is an impossible question, but I still want to ask you, what do you think when we are going to go back to the game?
I think with the vaccines, we have a light in the end of the tunnel. But I think that perhaps the second half of the year, up to June, July, August, we can start to move around. We can have some shows, but we never know. Let's see what's going to be the result now after Christmas and the New Year, because a lot of people, and we are Mediterraneans, so a lot of people gathered, and despite all the
sanctions, yeah.
the announcements that were made, let's here at home, we had, normally at Christmas time, we are more than 30 here at home. But this year, Christmas Eve was me and Teresa and the dogs, nobody more.
Yeah.
And on Christmas Day, Christmas lunch, we were 12.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it was a nice day. So we were at the garden, and we made all the possibles and impossibles to keep safe.
We had just before Christmas these new restrictions, from moving from one city to another, and that in a way I think has been a good thing, even if people were unhappy that they cannot travel and meet with their families. But the numbers started to go down, which was great. But then yesterday, with this new earthquake, they have taken away these passes to go, because obviously the help is coming from all over the country, and it's impossible now to check everybody and to issue all this. So I just hope that the numbers will not go very much up again. But as you said, I also think that maybe in the summertime, when we can have some shows in outdoor places, maybe that's going to be a start of something a little bit more, yes, more easy. Let's see. Anyhow, let me read a few of the comments, Jose, because we have 72 comments in 50 minutes, and so I'm going to lose them, and then I start with my questions. Alex is saying, here in Mexico, we had a female rescue Labrador hero, Frida, in the earthquake 2017. Tuya is watching from Finland. Bianca Teixeira, good afternoon.
Daniel, Bianca.
Yes. Daniel watching from Serbia. Karen from Tel Aviv. Tracy from Wales saying, looking forward to another great interview. Ricardo Silva saying, great breeder and inspiration. Francesco Cocchetti saying, missing our time in Australia.
Yeah.
Nina watching from Sweden. Katarina from Germany. Sean from South Africa. Sari saying, hello, Jose, and thank you, from Finland. Zeferino Silva saying, happy new year to both of you. Anna Luce Saletti watching from Rome. Christy say, we all start our days like that, I suppose. Yes, that's true. So a lot of comments, Jose. I will try to catch on them. Patricia De Koning watching from South Africa, and so Laszlo saying hello from Hungary, super judge and breeder. Many comments. I will try to catch on them. But let's start with the real questions now. I read, Jose, in your CV that you come from the family which has been already very much connected with the dogs. If I understood well, your parents were dog breeders. They had dogs. You were surrounded with the dogs more or less since you were born. Tell us a little bit about your family background and dogs.
Okay, so I still live in the same house where I came to make my first year of existence, and I had my first dog, a Estrella Mountain dog, when I was not 1 year old, and my parents were not really breeders. They had dogs always here at home. 1 liter here and 1 liter there, but nothing that we could say breeders. But I always lived with dogs, chickens, ducks, horses, all kinds of animals. And I also remember to have a fox here at home, but then my mom said, we cannot stand them.
When you got the fox, you lost the chicken.
Yeah. So, but we always loved dogs. And then I remember that I had a min pin, I had a miniature pincher, and and several breeds. But my mother's sister was also living here. They start to breed boxers. So when we were about perhaps 4, 5, 6, until we always lived with boxers, and they were breeding. They were breeding boxers. But my sport when I was young were horses, and I had an uncle that was very successful with horses, trotters, and race horses, and that was my sport when I was young until 75, because in 74 we had a revolution here in Portugal, and I had to go away from the country, and because my family thought that it's better because I was a very active person.
Okay. This is a part about you which we don't know.
Yes. And I had to go, and I went to live with an aunt of mine in Germany for 3 years, and I returned back to Portugal in 78. And from that time I always, because when I was living in Germany, our neighbors had a basset hound, and that was a breed that I always loved, bassets. And I was spending hours and hours, cuddling the basset and speaking with the people. And when I arrived in Portugal, I said I'm going to buy a basset, and that what happened in 1980. That
Okay,
was
so
my first basset.
that's how the story started. But I must tell you, because when I was just a little kid, my grandfather, he was a dog lover, and he always wanted to have schnauzers. And we had these old books, and in these old books, schnauzers were looking so ugly, but so ugly that when he would say, "I want to have a schnauzer," I would just like, "No, please not schnauzer." But like English Cocker Spaniels and Basset Hounds, they always look beautiful on all the photos. And actually, when I was young, I was always pushing to have a Basset Hound, but it didn't work out with me. But yes, with you. So the love for the Basset Hounds started in Germany with your neighbors, and
Yes.
then how did you get your first one when you came back from Portugal?
So when I came back to Portugal, I started to find, I was not showing dogs, and my family, yes, my aunt used to show the boxers at Lisbon show, at the international fair, Lisbon fair here in Lisbon. And I remember when I was a kid to go there with them over there, and they were showing the dogs. But I never showed the dogs when I was a kid. We always had dogs, and were running with the dogs and riding here with the dogs as well, always with us, but never showing. And so when I arrived, I start to find a puppy. So I start to look around, and I bought a puppy to a lady that came from Brazil, and that had a litter here in Portugal. And I bought her a puppy, and I start to show that puppy. And but like normal people, I realize at a certain time this is not a nice dog.
Okay, so you also started with the bad one, like many
Oh
others.
yes, this is not a nice. This is not a nice dog. And then, but by the time he became champion, but he was not. He has no ethics, nothing. His name was Bruno, and
Okay.
and then I bought a bitch from an English lady, Anna West, that was living here in Portugal, and she was breeding German Shepherds and Basset Hounds. So I bought a bitch with a better quality, because I met her at shows, with a better quality, and I start to show that bitch successfully. She was from Los Madroñales lines from Spain, and also from English lines. And after that, I never used the first dog because I thought that was not good. And I imported my first dog in 1983 from the UK, Masterful of Iveson. And, for the time, for those days, he was a nice dog. He was a nice dog, and we were showing him here in Spain. And I had my first litter in 1986 from that dog and that bitch. And I had, I think, 3 litters from those two dogs. But and I kept some puppies, but I realized that still not what I want.
Yes. Well, that's usually how it starts. But I must say that following the interviews with most of the successful dog people, the story always goes like this. The first dog was not very successful, was not really the best one, and I think that's a great start, because then then I think that if it goes opposite, if you get immediately a great dog, then you somehow think, okay, I'm already the best. Like this, you always want to improve, you want to better. So obviously that's a story where many successful dog people started. Anyhow, let me just tell you that Jose Doval is saying a true gentleman, an icon. Joao Vasco Pocas is watching. Taliape is saying missing having you in Israel, Jose. Macia is watching from Poland. Johanne from Denmark. Tina Taulos is sending you a besito.
Tina.
Igor Selimovic saying regards to dear friend. And then we have a question from our viewer, Zulfia, and I will read you the questions just because I think it's going to disappear probably later on. But I have a question actually connected with that, so we can answer it later. She's saying, dear Jose, my friend exported the Basset Hound from Brazil, from Lake Park Kennel. I can see a significant difference in a type of European Basset Hounds and those exported from overseas. Do you think the Basset Hounds exported from America are competitive in European rings? But just remember that we will answer that later on when we start to talk about the breed, just that I don't lose the comment. Anna Sabo is saying, let me read also this. Dog people, attention. I know Jose's secret perfume that makes him so loved and adored. I'm willing to reveal information for the right price. Jokes aside, Jose is a fabulous breeder, judge, and a friend, a class act. So, okay, Anna Sabo is trying to get money from people on your cost. So maybe it's easier if you say it immediately and we don't let her earn the money. But okay, let's go back to the questions. You said, Jose, from that beach that you got, you had 3 litters. Obviously, at some point you asked for your kennel name, which is Dos Sete Moinhos, if I pronounced it well. What does that mean?
The 7 windmills. And I'm going to explain you why. Because here around the region where I live, we have not anymore, but you used to have 7 windmills. Those old windmills. And that's why I named 7 windmills.
Okay. So that's the story. Okay, I wanted to ask you, before we continue talking about the breed, I want to ask you, you are one of these few rare people who stayed from the day one actually devoted to one breed. Did you have, I know you have, I don't know if you still have some Chihuahuas, but the Basset Hounds from the day one, they have always stayed with you.
They always stayed with me. I was very faithful to the Bassets. And, I can understand that people like to have other breeds. But I think that if you want to do a really good job, you must concentrate on, I think 1, maximum 2 breeds. And because it's so difficult, you need to have passion. You need to be very critical, because sometimes I'm always, sometimes when I have the litters and when I have the puppies going around, and I love to look at the puppies when they go around. And sometimes I'm with Teresa and I'm saying, oh, look at that. Oh, I don't like that very much. Oh, I say, come on, Jose, have you seen what they have outside? She was...
This is more or less the every conversation with Javier and me. Oh, I don't like this, and I say, did you see what other people around us have?
Yeah. So, but I was, I always loved bassets. But I'm going to tell you the story about the Chihuahuas, which is a very funny story. I always loved, I would love to have a small dog, because basset you can have one like you see over here, but you cannot have him on your lap. And so once I told Josie Requena from Gibraltar, and I told Josie, come on, if you ever have a pet, a pet puppy, I want to have him, because I want a small dog to have at home. And that's a nice breed. And I say, okay. She said, okay. And I think that 1 or 2 years passed. And once I was we were at the show in Cáceres in Spain, and it was Josie, and I've told Josie, come on, when do I have my puppy? You didn't answer me. Oh, Jose, look, I sold one, but the lady didn't like the color, and they were going to return the puppy. They're going to give him back today. So if you like, you can have him. So I said, okay. So when the lady arrived with the dog, Ante, it was a disaster. The poor dog had a blue eye, diarrhea. It was incredible. So Josie, as you know, Josie takes care of the dogs like babies, and oh, Jose, let's you cannot take this one because he's not in a good condition, and I told Josie, this dog needs a vet immediately. I have 3 hours until Lisbon, and you have 2 days until Gibraltar, so he's gonna die if you take him to Gibraltar. So I picked him up and I took him to Lisbon. I remember that it was a winter time, a Sunday, and normally on Sundays, all our family and Teresa's brothers and sisters come here to have tea, because Teresa's grandmother was English, so they always like to have the 5 o'clock tea.
So that was a tradition.
And so they were all here, and I called Teresa and I told her, I'm bringing a puppy home, a Chihuahua. Don't dare to do it. I don't want those key holders. Oh, she was furious with me, in a way that my brother-in-law called me and said, Jose, we all went away. She's furious. Be careful. So what's happened to make the story more short is that dog was almost dying, and I went to my vet, and he said, keep him warm because he's in a very bad condition, pneumonia, a blue eye, and a lot of stuff. And when I arrived home, we put him in between us on our bed. And the dog was during the night, crying. And I was saying, Teresa, we are going to wake up with a dead body between us.
But hopefully it didn't happen.
No, he was alive. And he was Teresa's shadow. All around, always around. So this is the story.
That's how it started with the Chihuahuas. Yes. Anyhow, I got a little bit distracted because at some point we started to shake a little bit, and Susanna got just this face,
Oh gosh!
But not a lot. So we are still here. But it's like nice to show the professionalism. We are shaking, and I'm like trying to keep nice smiling face, but you know,
I saw the
okay,
interview with the mayor. With the mayor from the city was
yes,
affected,
yes,
and he was giving an interview as well when the big
when the huge one, yes, started. Yes, let's hope we don't have the same situation. I'm not ready for that. Anyhow, Jose, I want to ask you if you would need to explain to somebody who wants to start, let's say, to be a judge for the basset hounds or a breeder, or just get a basset hound for himself. What would you say that are the, let's say, the most important features of the breed? How would you describe a perfect basset hound in your eyes?
Listen, I always say that to the people, remember that bassets are hunting dogs. And that old type that we used to have in Europe, and we still have some of those dogs, very heavy dogs with overtype, be careful with that. So we need a dog with a certain high on leg that can be with a nice temperament, because bassets are very active dogs. You cannot imagine when the basset is hunting what they run all around, and it's really amazing when they feel the game and they start to follow the game. They give the voice, and it's really, really, really a wonderful thing. So another thing, so no exaggerations, and a very important point in the breed are fronts. A basset must have an upper arm with the same length of a shoulder blade. So we have a lot of dogs with very short upper arms. What's happened? This is happening as well in other breeds. Nowadays we have a lot of breeds with very short upper arms that they cannot have so many reach. So and then they are normal dogs, but the main thing that I say is no exaggerations.
Okay, I want to ask you now, Jose, and we can connect this a little bit with the question that I read before from one of our viewers. I read in your CV that actually when you started breeding basset hounds, you were mixing European and American lines. So connecting a little bit with that question and with my questions, are the basset hounds one of these, let's say, lucky breeds that look the same all over the world, or there are still differences in type on different continents?
It's that's not a big difference. I think that we are one of the lucky breeds, and in as I've told you, and as you told in my CV, I start, and that goes again to my story as a breeder. After those three liters, a friend of mine, which is my mentor in bassets, Jacques Médard from France, Jacques Médard Ranguet from France, offered me a bitch. And I made that bitch with a dog, Gunsmoke from Hollandine, a dog bred in Holland by Carla Gerber. But he was a dog with no exaggeration, than that bitch as well. And from that litter, I had some very nice puppies. Between them, a bitch, Daisy Crazy. And that bitch, the first reserve besting show I won was with that bitch under Harold Spira from Australia. You remember the famous vet and judge from Australia. And from by that time, I start to look a dog from America, because with all I had better dogs, but I was searching better top lines and more movement. So I went to a kennel. Carla Molinari was judging in Canada, and she told me, There is a nice. I was judging in Canada, and there is a nice breeder in California. So I contact them, and I bought them a first male that I brought to Portugal, and I start to show. And with that dog, I won my first best in show. I don't remember which year it was, but it was about 1986 or something like that. No, more than that. 89. And I became friends with them, with those American people. And in 1989, I married, and Teresa and I went to spend our honeymoon at the Nationals in Texas.
Yes, you were not very inventive, I must say, with your honeymoon.
So we went to Texas, and then we went to visit them in California, and we became friends. And I was traveling a lot on business, also to America, so I was visiting them, and we became friends. And they were coming to visit us over here. And one day there was Brian and Carol Lilt on Brycar's Kennels. One day Brian called me, and he told me, Jose, we are going to divorce, and we are going to stop breeding. So do you want dogs from us, from our kennels? And I said, yes, but how much are you asking for them? Because they had the top dam in the States by the time, the top dog, and a lot of top dogs from by that time. So he told me, you only have to take the plane and pick them up. It's a gift. You pick up what you want. So I went there, and I brought the top dam. I brought a dog, Ute Pendragon, and I bought two more dogs. And from that dog, Brycar's Ute Pendragon, that made a revolution in the breed here in Europe. That dog brought a lot of movement and temperament to the dogs. I made that dog to that bitch that I kept, that won Reserve Best in Show under Harold Spiver. And from that litter, I had Hey Jude and Humphrey. Hey Jude was best of breed, best in group, and fourth best in show at the World Show 94 in Bern. And Humphrey was best in show in 95 in Brussels.
Amazing.
So, and from those lines, I start to work, line breeding always, and keeping those lines, and they are still my lines. I made an outcross once. I need to make another outcross now because my lines are getting too close. But all the lines are coming from those lines. But I can tell you that the type, the Basseton type from those days in America, for me, was nicer than they have nowadays.
Yeah.
So
to go back, Jose, to this question of our viewer, do you think that one dog today, as she mentioned, bred in Brazil, can do well in the European rings, or the difference in type is really big?
No problem, but that also depends on the type, because if you're bringing a very heavy dog from Brazil or from America or from South Africa or from Australia, he's not going to win in Europe, because, as you know, nowadays in Europe we are more and more and more and more fit to function, and a Basset is a hunting dog. So normally a Basset must have 25% from the deepest chest to the ground, and 75. So 2/3 two-thirds, one-third. So it's not 25, but it's 60, 90, or more or less.
Yeah. Okay, we got some interesting questions from our viewers here. I'm going to read them to you because I think they will be interesting. But let me just ask few of my questions, and then we got to these questions because we will still speak a little bit more about the breed. You have judged Jose Basset Hounds obviously all around the world. What do you think at the moment is the biggest problem in the breed?
Fronts, upper arms, very short upper arms, very short upper arms. There is also a problem in the breed, but we don't see that so much anymore, which is rib cages. I always say to the judges, when you judge Bassets, you need to really touch the rib cage, because the rib cage of a Bassets are hunting. They must have space for lung and heart. So we need to really put really the fingers on to see if it's really a barrel shape rib cage.
Yeah.
So,
I want to ask you. You mentioned when we were starting that you had only 2 shows this year, and one of them was Crafts, and you had obviously great honor to judge Basset Hounds at Crafts. I want to ask you about that experience, and I want to ask you about the overall quality of the breed.
I was surprised with the quality. I had very nice dogs. I had very nice males. The quality in bitches was better than the males, but again, we didn't have dogs overtyped with no health problem. And as you know, Bassets are not anymore, but were a breed that was considered with health problems in the UK, and I had nothing to say about it. Healthy dogs, no skin problems, no eye problems, and that was really, I had a lot of fun. I in the end, I put up an Italian bitch. A beautiful bitch, beautiful movement, nice proportions, that, can win everywhere. And I was very pleased because she was third in group, which is, I think that only once a Basset was placed in the group, and she was third in group, and I was, really, really happy with that because, as you know, for a breeder, and for an English breeder to judge Crafts, your breed at Crafts, it's the cherry on the cake.
Absolutely, no doubts about that. You mentioned it now, and I wanted to ask you. You said that it is not anymore, but I remember some years ago when after this Pedigree Dogs Exposed documentary, which was broadcasted by the BBC, the Kennel Club made this list of 15 high-profile breeds, and one of these breeds were also the Basset Hounds. And after the judge would give best of breed, the dog would need to pass a vet check before going to the group. I don't know if ever happened that the Basset Hound didn't go in the group because of this.
I don't think so.
Is it still happening or not anymore?
No. They go directly to the group. They are out of the list. Thank God. The English people, the English breeders made a lot of efforts, and the Basset Hound Club, the UK Basset Hound Club made a lot of efforts, and they are out, and that's not anymore. The Bassets are not anymore on the list.
No,
and as I've told you, I didn't have any exaggerations when I've judged Crafts.
Excellent. That's definitely good news. I want to ask you one more thing. You said now that some years ago Basset Hounds were on this high-profile list. They are not anymore. How much did the breed standard change in the last years? And another question together with this, if you could change the FCI standard of the breed, would you change something about it?
You know, we follow the English standards, so I think that the standard is okay. You know, the only thing that they changed after this problem, they changed, and what they made some little touches, and touches against exaggeration. You know, when they were saying skin not too much, and then the high lids not too, the conjunctive not too much apparent. You know, there were some small touches on the standards to prevent exaggerations. That were the main changes that they made in the standards.
Yeah. And is there something at the moment that bothers you in the standard that you think that should be changed, or you think it's okay?
I think there is something that bothers me, which is the ears. When they change the standards, they change it that the ears should reach the tip of the nose. And I think that a ear that only reaches the tip of the nose cannot be a good ear, because that's going to be a beagle ear. And one of the proposals of the Bassett's ears, and they must have a very soft texture, and they must go inside, you know, curl inside, because when they are hunting, those are the funnel to take the scent of the game to his nose. So if you have a very short ear, it's not going to be a very soft ear. So that's the only thing that I think that it was a little bit too much.
Yeah. So you think in general the ears should be a little bit longer than that?
Yes, yes. No, not those, you know, huge ears, but don't go from 80 to 8. You know,
yeah, to find a little bit more of balance.
And you know, you must be. I always say in all breeds, you must be reasonable. And one of the reasons that my Bassets were successful is because I never had, even when I won Best in Show at the World Show in '95 with Humphrey, he wasn't moving by that time. You know, he was moving like beautifully. You know, it was not normal to see a Basset moving like that. And I think that was the key. You know, sportive dogs with nice temperaments, and I think that's the same applies to other breeds. You must be reasonable.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to ask you another question, Jose. When you compare the Basset hounds, not just yours, that when you started with the breed, but in general the dogs that were shown at that time when you were starting with the breed, to the Basset hounds of today, do you think the breed has changed a lot? And do you think it has changed for better or for worse?
I think it changed for better. I think that when I start the fronts of the Bassets by that time were mostly, you know, about 80 or 90%, 10 to 2, you know, opens in front. And I always say, you know, these are hunting dogs. If you put a man running, if he has the feet like that,
no way.
So well.
No way. Yeah.
So I think that nowadays we have much better fronts, and the movements of the dogs, they change a lot for better. You know, I think that we have healthy dogs. Thank God we don't have major problems with health, with the health. We have, like in all other breeds. And some breeders say, I never had this, I never had that. And I always say, you know, problems with teeth, kinky tails, you know, I always said, you know, a blue eye, that can happen. I had that. But a dog with a problem like that can live a healthy life. You know, it's not a health problem. And but no, in America they have some lines with some problems, but we cannot say that we can say that we have a healthy breed.
Yeah, this was actually my next question. I wanted to ask you: are the Basset Hounds in general a healthy breed or not? You answered already that they are, because as you said that at the time when they became one of these high-profile breeds in the UK, I suppose it was because of the ice, and I suppose it was because of the skin problems.
Yeah.
But that's obviously not an issue anymore in the breed.
No. That was not. That the problem was not like Cavaliers, or they had really health serious health problems. There were more, and again because of exaggerations. Because if you put a lot of skin on a dog, he will have skin problems. He will have the eyelids dropped a lot. So that was the Basset main problems. Nothing.
Yeah. And are there many, because this is obviously something that a lot of breeders are doing nowadays, these genetic tests for illnesses? Are there many illnesses that you can test the Basset Hounds for? And did that in a way change a little bit your breeding strategies or not?
Oh, yes. We as I've told you, we have the PMDS, and that we do the tests, and but nothing that you can say. You nothing that in some other breeds you must be really pay a lot of attention. I don't think that the Bassets are in one of those breeds.
Okay, and you mentioned a few times the Basset should be fit for function, and you mentioned they are originally obviously a hunting breed. In many of the breeds that we know, there are different types of hunting dogs and show dogs. What is with the Basset Hounds? Can a good show Basset Hound still hunt? Are there people who are still hunting with them? Or that's not anymore happening?
No, there are different types. There are different types. You have the hunting type and the show type. But a show type Basset Hound can hunt. And I'm going to tell you a story about that bitch that I've told you that won the breed and the group in '94. When I imported those dogs from America, I was criticized by the French breeders because, as you know, in France, they need to have the hunting tests to become a champion. So everybody was saying, oh, Jose imported the dogs from America. They never saw a rabbit. They are not hunting, this and that. And that bitch, Daisy, went, not Daisy, Hey Jude, that was by Daisy. Out of Daisy. And she went to France, to a friend of mine, Nicole Poirier, and she became also hunting champion. And some years after, the best hunting dogs in France had the American dog behind.
Yeah.
And you know why? Because that dog had a wonderful temperament, he was very well constructed, and he passed that. And I always say the gene is there. They know what they're made for.
Yeah. It stays with them in a way. Okay. These were more or less. I still have obviously a few questions about the Basset Hounds, but let's go a little bit to the questions and comments of our viewers, because they always also want to have their questions answered. First, let me tell you that Rui Alves is saying Teresa loves her Chihuahuas, so obviously that has been a big change from the start. And of course, Dusan Paunovic is saying only best people have Chihuahuas. So there you are. Pedro is saying absolutely agree. One or two breeds are projects for life by passion and responsibility. About one breed for me, multi-breeds is about reproduction in dogs. Caroline Coltas is saying, Jose, I'm just wondering what your opinion would be on introducing for the breed in Europe field work in addition to show confirmation. In USA, they called it the field ring connection and already have several dual champions enjoying field trials, scent work, hunting tests, and agility. It would give a great example of how our breed is fit for purpose and could attract many more people into the breed.
Listen, as I've told you, I think that, and that goes with the times we are living. We must, one way to promote the pedigree dogs is to promote their function. As we have told in the beginning of the interview, the dogs who can rescue, the dogs who can smell. You know, now we are in coronavirus times in England and Finland. They are already training dogs to
smell positive people, yes.
To detect people with positive. So I think that more and more we need to promote the function of the dogs. And I have an opinion in what concerns this, is that we must, because in every breed you have very good dogs in the morphologically speaking, and dogs that are not so good. So, and go with your dog to make a hunting proof, you know, for people that are not interested in shows, you know, that's going to promote the breed. So I think that it's very positive to promote the work of the different breeds. I don't agree that to finish your championship, to make a dog a champion, you need to have the proofs, because that will cut entries on shows. People will say, okay, I'm not interested in shows. My dog is not going to be he's not going to do the hunting. He's not going to do, you know. But I agree that we need to promote the proofs for the breeds.
Yeah. This is it. What you said, like one of the things that we need to use in our fight with the general public today is this fit for function, and we need to try to explain to people that these breeds, as you said, were made hundreds of years ago, and they have made to not to go only to the dog shows, but they have their purpose. So obviously, if we can in a way emphasize that, it's just a plus, not a minus, for sure. We have one more question for you, Jose. It's from Dan Buchwald. He's saying, greetings from Ohio, USA. Jose, I've been a fan of yours breeding program for years. Here is a Basset Hound question for you. The AKC breed standard, I assume FCI standard as well, calls for well laid back shoulders and for a level and straight top line. I find those two particular features very hard to find in the breed. What are your thoughts?
It's very difficult, but a dog with a 90 degrees angulation in front, same length of upper arm and shoulder blade, and a level top line, it's a beautiful dog.
Yeah.
But that's the fun. That's the, you know, the target, you know, and that's the fun to breed. It's to try to reach those things, and you know, and I know that it's difficult. I know that it's difficult. And in America, I can say that they have much better fronts than we have nowadays in Europe. They have beautiful fronts because they made a lot of efforts to front angulation, and they have, you know, when you look at on profile of a dog with a nice angulation and a nice length of shoulder blades and upper arm, you can see the chest that come out, and it's really nice, and you can see that they move.
Antonio Luis Rivera is saying, very good judge and breeder, congratulations. And then we have also a question from Francesco Cocchetti. He says, nowadays I see also many Bassets with heads without stop at all. Is it my impression or it is common in the breed?
We have it. We have it. We have it, and it's not good. They must have a stop. Not too much pronounced, but a stop. And something also that some judges are looking for, and it change the expression. The skull and foreface lines, they can't be parallel. If they are parallel, the expression of the dog changes. They will have a more serious and harder expression. And the opposite, as it's also terrible, when you have very different skull and foreface lines, that makes a horrible expression. That's very bad as well. But Francesco is right. Some dogs nowadays, they don't have stop.
Yeah. Wire Ground is saying top person, top breeder and judge. Martina Lerox Cloet is saying, please state the key hallmarks of the breed. You mentioned a little bit the
Yes.
heat. I don't know if you want to emphasize something more.
Yeah, type. When go, they must have type. I'm always very keen with ears texture. They must be velvet, clean eyes nowadays, and nice fronts.
Yeah,
those for me are the main
features. Yeah,
no exaggerations again.
Yeah, Francesco Coquetti is saying exactly. We should never forget that each breed is fit for a specific function. Vincenzo Pontone is saying such a great judge and breeder, a true example. Jeff Horsfell is saying fascinating interview. Marco Vanali is saying great breeder and judge. Susanne is saying so much knowledge and love for the breed. This is going to be a difficult name for me to pronounce. Lientie Marai saying fantastic interview, great judge, excellent breeder. Enjoy showing under you in 2018 in South Africa. You have special greetings from Sweden from Dan Eriksson.
Oh, that big hug to Dan as well.
Silver Sea Wimes is saying listening from Western Canada. Good comment on show dogs that can also hunt. Rooney Aqua Christiansen saying hi from Norway, and yes, show dogs have the form and function. When Ford is saying fit for function in a hound is critical. Hundreds of years of selective breeding means the instinct to hunt is there, even in our show dogs. My beagle, Jose Best of Breed Melbourne Royal Show, comes from show lines, but she can still hunt. Patricia Nemirovsky de Alcina saying, well said, Jose, 90 degrees plus perfect top line, it's beauty. Bruno Nodali saying hello, Dirante and Jose, greetings and congratulations from Italy. Bianca Teixeira is saying, last question, please speak about Roman nose.
Oh, yes. It's I can. That's something that spoils a Basset profile and expression. I can accept a little bit, but I think that we must penalize Roman noses. No, the standard doesn't say anything, but it's not nice to have a Basset with Roman noses. They have level lines. That's the nice thing.
Yeah. And Rudy Smith is saying, don't forget soft expression in the Basset Hound. And Talia Afe is saying, modesty and respect for your colleagues are values one cannot miss when listening to you. Very well said. You are a true source for inspiration. So we have, Jose, a lot of people watching, 130 comments already. But now I'm going to put them a little bit on the side, and I'm going to continue with my questions, because I'm sure that some of them will be interesting for our viewers. I remember, Jose, we spoke some years ago, and you were saying that you are thinking of stopping breeding. I'm happy that you changed your mind. What has happened in the meantime?
Listen, some years ago, as you know, I was very busy with my business. My family has a publishing company, and I was the one that founded a department I started in '89, a department to publish books to teach Portuguese as a foreign language. Portuguese is the third European language most spoken in the world. First is English, second is Spanish, and third is Portuguese. Portuguese is the so in a lot of countries they speak Portuguese. So I was traveling a lot, visiting our distributors and visiting schools, visiting teachers. So I had no time to for breeding. I always had a kennel boy, and also judging, because I was not accepting all the invitations because I was traveling a lot on business. So I said, I have no time. What can I do? I have no time. And, and then Teresa, the poor Teresa, also, when I was going, I was traveling on business, and then I was arriving sometimes on Friday, and I was leaving the same day. I was coming only to change my luggage and going to judge. So I said, I must stop. And so I reduced a lot of the number of dogs, and I was going to stop. So during a certain time, I didn't have new dogs. As you have seen, I was not showing dogs.
Yeah.
And and then I decided, no, I still, and the thing is, I was judging around and I was saying, the quality I had.
Yes. I still have something to do here.
I need to do something. So I pick it up again. I reduced the numbers. I've never been, in all these years, I've bred, I think, 57 liters. So, and I think that I'm breeding from 86, so it's almost 1-2 liters a year. I have people asking me puppies from all over the world. It was always like that since 86. But I'm always saying I'm breeding for me or for my friends. I prefer to offer a puppy to a friend that I know that is going to show, and it is going to promote the breed and to promote my lines than to sell a dog abroad.
Somebody that you don't know.
And I've one of the things that I've always made, all the dogs that went abroad were top quality dogs. I have never sent a dog abroad that was medium quality.
Yeah, obviously that's very important. Gonzalo Marmelo Vieira is saying, great breeder and example. I like to know what is Jose's opinion about hunting proofs to make a basset champion in Portugal. You said already, but you can say once again that
yes,
you would not make it obligatory.
I think that it's not a wise decision to make it obligatory, because it will reduce the number of dogs entering shows. Yeah, I think that perhaps we can have a thing like they have in America, dual champion or something. Create a title for those dogs who have
one thing and another, yes,
and morphology as well. I totally agree. As I've told you, because I think that we can attract a lot of people to hunting proofs. Because people that are living in one apartment and during the weekend that can go with their dogs and train their dogs and spend some time on the field and going to training their dogs. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to ask you, Jose, you have mentioned it a little bit earlier, but I want to if you can say a little bit more about that. That is actually about your breeding strategy. You said you are using a lot of line breeding. You don't do a lot of outcrossing, but you do it when necessary. How did you actually, during your career as a breeder, how do you choose the parents for your litters? Do you look a lot at the pedigrees? Do you just look how the dogs look like? What is your breeding strategy in general?
I always looked a lot of the dogs that look how they look like. I also look a lot of pedigrees, but you must have a balance on your choice. The thing is that you when you're doing an outcross, you need to choose the right male to do it. And normally, I always do it. I'm bringing a new male inside, and I can tell you, one of the dogs that came from an outcross was come and get me.
Mm-hmm.
My lines were getting too close. I was breeding nice dogs, but I was afraid of the bloodlines. They were coming too close. So I said, no, I need to make an outcross and then come back again.
Go back, yeah.
So I went, by that time, I went to the UK and I bought a dog from the UK that had also American lines and also European lines behind, far behind, that were going to my lines as well, but far behind. And I used that dog. And from that litter, that litter was born Come and Get Me. You know, the famous.
Yes, the famous one.
And get that has also a story. I need to tell you this story because that's
tell
fun.
us.
So I made the bitch and Big Boon, and I made the bitch, and I prepared everything to be here, because normally I prepared everything, but at the last minute I have something to do, and Teresa has to stay with for whelping. And she always stays furious. And like usual, I went to judge in Denmark, and the bitch starts to whelp earlier. So I was at the hotel in Denmark, and all of a sudden I heard my phone ringing, and it was Teresa. And then they say, she already had I don't know, 1 or 2 puppies, but she stopped and this and that. And I thought, come on, take her a little bit to the garden so she can move. Perhaps she will have a contraction and she will go with
continue
the whelping. So she said, okay. She went out, and some minutes later she called me. Oh, come on, Jose. It was born. Yes, she had a contraction, and a puppy was born. Almost all white, screaming like, crazy. Awful. It's an awful dog. It's always screaming and this and that and that. I say, okay, but he's okay. Yes, he's okay. No problem. When I arrived, I've looked at the puppies on arriving on Monday, and it was Come and Get Me, but we could already see that he was a great dog, because he was always very active, and teaching always with the feet like this. But Teresa didn't like him because he had you remember, he had a ear white spotted. And when people were coming out, don't you like the white face? And I say, no, it's not for sale.
So you have not been very good to Teresa. You have kept a dog that she didn't like. She had to whelp it alone and everything. Now when you are retired, you will have to work hard to make her happy, I think. I want to ask you, you have mentioned it just now, and that's always interesting to hear from the people who have so much experience as breeders as you do. You mentioned, like, he was great since he was born and active and everything. When do you choose your puppies, and how do you choose them?
I like to look at them the moment they are born, when they are wet. And then in Bassets, when they are 3 months. But you can only, we still have front problems, especially when they start to have a deviation in feet. And sometimes that only happens when they have 5-6 months. So Bassets are a very difficult breed because it's not an old breed. The first Bassets were shown at the Jardin d'Acclimatation, the first show in Paris. That was 1800 and something, in the end of the 19th century. So it's not easy.
So normally this story of you can choose the puppy with 8 weeks, that doesn't work very well with the Basset Hounds.
No way. In my opinion, no way. No way. Sometimes I already had beautiful puppies with 8 weeks, and all of a sudden, and then oops.
Yeah. yeah, that's difficult. Anyhow, Don Ratmel is saying, so lucky we have 3 of yours. Sari Carlson is saying, Abbey Road dos Sete Moinhos is ready to shows in Finland when we have shows. Thank you. Runi Aqua Christiansen is saying that is a breeder story. Credit to Teresa. These were more or less my questions for you about the Basset Hounds. Now I have some different questions, and we will start first with these quick questions, which are usually quite difficult for the people. Let's see how difficult they will be for you. The first one is, which show you judged you consider for the moment to be the highlight of your judging career?
Crafts. I think that for a breeder, for an English breeder, and I've told you before, the cherry on the cake is Crafts.
Yeah, absolutely,
really,
absolutely.
I have other shows that I love to show, but this is
something special. Yeah, I agree. Favorite Basset Hound of all times, not bred or owned by you?
Topsfield Bumper Cars, an American dog, bred by Claudio Orlandi. Beautiful dog. I already flew a bitch to the States to make an artificial insemination with the frozen semen from that dog, and unfortunately, she was empty.
Yeah, that happens. But you have now puppies out of Come and Get Me also with the frozen semen.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's exciting.
8 years after he died.
yeah, that's very exciting. Always. This will be a difficult one, I suppose. But the best dog you ever bred?
Come and Get Me.
Yeah, I thought that would be the answer. The favorite win with your own dogs?
I have, I think that I had 2 favorite winnings. I think the World Show in
2 is okay. Yeah.
95 World Dog Show with Unfrey, and Colaredor with Come and Get Me.
Okay. One breed you never had at home, but you would love to?
I'm gonna tell you something that's a 13 inches Beagle bitch.
Okay. Is that a surprise for Teresa soon or
not? No, she already knows.
Oh my God. Okay, so it's approved. Okay. Dog person not alive anymore that you terribly miss?
Carlos Fernando Renau. He was a great person and a great breeder and a great friend.
Yeah. One breeder who, in your opinion, from any breed, always year after year produce amazing dogs. One from Portugal and one from the rest of the world.
From Portugal, we have a great breeder, Pedro and Daria Silva with Samoyeds. They have exceptional dogs. I think that they are definitely nowadays the best breeders in Portugal. From abroad, I would name two.
Okay.
Stefano with the Havanese and Gwen with the Grand Bassets from Holland.
Yeah. Okay. That's a nice choice. Yes, definitely two top breeders. Absolutely. Can we try to imagine one thing, Jose?
Yes.
There is a World Dog Show in Lisbon. You are not judging, but you have a beautiful Basset Hound that you want to show. Under which Portuguese judge you would like to win Best in Show? What would you consider to be a special honor for you?
Luís Pinto Teixeira.
Okay. Many people have mentioned his name. Another question. You have 3 different litters at home. If you could invite 3 of your colleague judges from anywhere in the world to help you to pick up the puppies, which 3 would you invite?
I would invite Rudy Smit from Holland.
Okay.
And I would invite Claudio Orlandi from America, from the Topsfield. And I think that I would invite Debbie Newman from the UK.
Okay, so that would be a good meeting of Basset Hound breeder experts. Okay, Jose, if you would need to thank to 5 people who helped you to become what you are today in dogs, which 5 you would like to thank?
Teresa, because she's.
You learned your lesson. This is good.
Teresa, and then after that, definitely Jacques Médard-Ranguet from France. You know, my foundation bitch. He offered me that bitch. Then, as I've told you before, Brian and Carol Littleton from America. You know, they were the ones that offered me the you know, I bought them the first dog, but then the other ones were offered by them. And all the dogs that I have there now and that I bred during all these years and were offered by them. And here I have some more people, but I think these ones are.
Okay, these ones are the most important.
Yeah.
Okay. Best, well, it's difficult to say like this, not the best dog you ever judged, but one dog that you have judged and that you will never forget.
I've told that before in an interview. That's the Laza that I've showed, that was showed by me in Slovenia.
Yes, in Slovenia, it's by Javier Elton. Yeah, Javier will be very happy. Very happy to.
I think that's a dream to judge that dog.
Yeah. He will also be happy to hear he's barking somewhere here in the house. Another question that I'm lately asking to my guests is this one. If you were offered to judge 3 national specialties in the USA in the breeds of your choice, what would they be?
In the USA?
Yes.
Bassets, Beagles, and Bloodhounds.
Okay. So you are very, very much concentrated on the group 6.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Okay, and the last one of the quick question, is there a young person you recently met that you think could have a great future in dogs?
Oh, there are several. There are several people, but as I've told you before, you know, that depends on what we say young. But Gwen from Holland is a great breeder. We have.
Well, she already has a great, yes. Not great future, but great present in the dog world.
But you know, that's something that I miss. I think that we must promote a lot our sports, and that's something that we have to do. And I congratulate you. It's the Project 25. We need to have more people in our sports, especially also breeders, special breeders, because we need to transmit this passion, and it's such a nice and how can I say clean sport that I think it's extremely important. Extremely.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I think this is something not only we spoke a little bit before the interview that we need to work a lot in a way to attract the general public on our side, but also what we definitely need, and it's not in all the countries, but in many countries when you travel for the dog shows and when you see the people who are involved with the organizing of the show, there are no young people, and I think that's a big problem. I think we need to really to try to find all the possible ways to include the young people and in a way to give them the possibility to do something.
Sorry, Auntie. I remember,
Yes, yes.
to give you an example, my generation, in my time generation, here in Portugal, we were a lot of them. That after some years were successful breeders and judges. Rui Oliveira, Pedro de Leroux, Zafarino, Francisco Janeiro. We are a lot of them. We are a lot of them. And, when you look around nowadays, we cannot see a very bright future.
So if you look, for example, in your country, in Portugal, do you think that there are some young judges and some young breeders who are obviously going to be successful in the future?
Yes.
Obviously, there are some, but do you think? Oh, I suppose you think that there should be much more.
I think that we should promote and promote them and teach them and give them skills to go on and on and on.
Yeah. Christina Pilatos has right. I have totally enjoyed this interview. I always thought of Jose very highly as a judge, wise judge, real gentleman, and very kind and pleasant personality. Gentle and loving with dogs. Now from this interview, I realize he's a very wise breeder too, as so many people have said about him. He's very passionate about his breed with great knowledge, a hallmark of a master breeder. I agree with Jose. Great dogs need to have type, good construction, good front assembly with good length of upper arm, good top line, and sound movement to be fit for function. I would also add temperament. Super interview. Enjoyed it very much. Special greetings from Croatia. Tony Morad is saying great interview. Anastasia Paunovic is saying hound person and sent you a big heart. Jason Joyce say great listening. Happy New Year. Federico Sanguinetti saying good evening, my dears. Tony Moran saying so right. We need more breeders and more young people to secure the future of our sport. So this is something that definitely we need to work on. And speaking about that, I will invite again all our viewers, please, to make a photo that they are watching the interview and post it on Facebook and Instagram. Tag me, I will share it later. More young people we manage to catch to watch these interviews and to learn from people like Jose. I think the future will be better. So you can also help a lot about that. I want to ask you, Jose, now you have become at some point an old breed judge. You have traveled all around the world to judge. If you would need to say what do you like more, to show dogs or to judge dogs, what would be the answer?
Show.
Show.
I'm if someone asked me, you need to choose breed and show or judge, definitely. I wouldn't say.
Okay, that's very nice. That I don't think many will answer that, but that's really nice to hear. You have mentioned it during this interview already, but I want somehow that you try to go back in your mind and that you tell me what has actually happened at the World Dog Show in 1995.
Oh, that was really, For a breeder, we went by the time in '95. In '95, I went because that's the Unfray in '95. That was a great friend of mine, Juan Aguilar Hidalgo from Seville. He told me, "Oh, my wife wants a basset bitch," and I say, "Okay, Juan, I will offer you, but my next litter I'm going to do. It was supposed that I was doing this litter, so the litter was born, and then I said, Juan, I have a beautiful male. I have a beautiful bitch, which one was the one that won the breed
the year before, yeah,
the year before, but I have a beautiful male, Unfray, and he took Unfray. So we decided we start to show him, and he was very successful. He was a beautiful dog by '95, so that was 25 years ago, and we decided to go to the World Show in Brussels, and we went by car. And you can imagine in '95 by car, from Lisbon, all around crossing.
Long ride.
A long ride, and we went to the World Show. So by that time, there were a lot of dogs. The entries were huge. I remember that in '95, the entries at the World Dog Show were about 16,500 dogs that were entered. So we showed him, we won the breed, and now from Austria, he was he was a FCI committee member.
Karl Heisinger. Okay.
Under Karl Heisinger. Then I won the group.
See, I'm looking at her and laughing all the time because
Ost Liebenstein, and that was marvelous, Whoa.
Yeah.
And then I went to Best in Show, and I won Best in Show under Hans Müller. So it was really incredible. And by those times, you remember that the sponsors were, investing like crazy. Yes. So when I was at the podium, I already had, I don't know how many people around me. Please sign the contract with Pedigree Pass. I'm not signing anything.
Yeah.
And then
these are yes.
And then they oh, but please, you are invited to the Meridian, because we are going to have a big party and we want to invite you and this and that. And I said, okay, we accept invitation for the hotel, but sorry, we want to go party with our friends from Spain and Portugal. So, okay, no problem. So they took us to a suite at the Meridian in Brussels. And I said, oh, but we have the dogs, but I don't remember which dogs were the other ones. So we left the dogs at the hotel, because they say, oh, no problem. If they destroy the suite, it's not a problem. And then we went party. But it was, it's incredible to win Best in Show at the World Show. And because I won Reserve Best in Show in '94. I won fourth Best in Show in '94 with Hey Jude, with the little sister. And then in '96, I won third Best in Show in Budapest with Like Daddy from Another Litter.
So that has been quite successful 3 years for you.
Yeah, but, 3 years in the big podium that was successful. Yeah. But what I always say, that it's sometimes I say it's also a question of luck to breed a top.
Of course.
A top dog. The difficult thing is to have dogs on the top level. And here at home, born here at home, we already bred 15 world winners, which is
That's that's
which is
that's
nice.
amazing.
Oops, it's
Sorry.
that.
No, it was not an earthquake.
Oh
It
my
was
gosh,
just my leg.
I was scared now.
No, 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 no. It was just my leg, not an earthquake. Don't worry. You mentioned now when you were talking about this dog show in 1995, and these were, let's say, in a way, golden times of the for the purebred dogs. And you mentioned there were these sponsors and everything. For the young people who unfortunately didn't have this luck, but you had this amazing opportunity, and I had this amazing opportunity to be a part of Collare d'Oro, which has been a project of one big pet food company. And I remember when I went there for the first time, I remember these like hundreds and hundreds of people staying in the queue, buying the tickets to come and to see this show. You won their Best in Show in 2001, I think, if I remember, under Mike Macbeth with Come and Get Me. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
That was also a very funny story.
Okay. Teresa was at home and she was delivering the puppies, I suppose.
Yeah, Collare d'Oro, they were always inviting two people and the dog, paying everything to go to the Collare d'Oro. So they invited me, and it was a great honor because, also for a Basset, because, as you know, Collare d'Oro, and Paolo Dontina mentioned that the other day, was to commemorate Benelli, who was also a very fan of Basset hounds. So normally Teresa was not coming with, because she loves dogs, but she doesn't like shows. So, and normally by that time was Marta Alarcão, who was showing my dogs, and she was always traveling with me. But Teresa decided that she wanted to come. I said, okay, so let's go both. We took the plane, and as you know, it's in December. We took the plane to Milano, and when we were approaching Milano, snowstorm, the plane went to Genova.
Okay, that's not very near.
So, in Genova, and then we are going by plane, we are not going by plane, and they decided, no, Malpensa is closed, the airport is closed, so everybody needs to go by bus. So can you imagine? With the dog, Teresa always complaining. But the poor dog, he was really nice. So we went by bus. That it took us ages. We arrived in Milano airport almost at midnight. No taxis, nobody waiting for us, because they lost us. They didn't know where we were, the people from the organization. And nothing at the airport, and we were there. And all of a sudden I said, oh, and perhaps I still can rent a car. So I went down and I rent a car, and we went to the hotel. And then Teresa Furious was telling me, you better win this damn show.
So
and then so we show, as you know, there were 10 judges.
Yes.
10 judges judging the dogs, and then it was Mike Macbeth was judging Best in Show. But I remember that from the 10 judges, that the maximum points that you have, it's 100 points. Get Me had 97.5. I remember that it was Elke Pepper, Philip John, Stefan Cinco, who was my Capra, John Tabor as well.
Many great names.
A lot of well-known judges.
Yeah.
And then I was I had the privilege to win Best in Show, and it was really nice because you know. But
It was really nice because otherwise, Teresa would make your life hell.
no,
Yes,
it was really nice. It was really
yeah.
nice
It
because
was a special, special
very
show.
very famous judges, and it was an honor to have such a high points.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sue Jones is saying a great interview, especially his opinion on confirmation. It was lovely to hear how much he enjoyed judging crafts. Always a special show to be part of. Federico Sanguinetti says the first time we met was in the elevator. I was in the hotel for Colare d'Oro going to my room, and the couple and their dog came into the elevator. The same evening, that happy dog was best in show. Come and get me. I felt in love with this breed. Thank you so much. So you see, you have changed also somebody's life at Colaro d'Oro. I want to ask you now a few more questions, Jose, about you as a judge. You are today an all breeds judge. Is it difficult, to travel every weekend and to judge so many different breeds? How much of preparation does it take?
In some breeds, it depends on the breeds you're judging, and when you're no rounds, sometimes it's difficult because I'm a hound man, and for me it's not difficult to judge Dachshunds, to judge Afghan hounds. I love. For me, it's more difficult to judge. I like to judge terriers as well. For me, it's more difficult to judge dogs, for instance, for the group 2. But you need to study and to study the standards, and that's very important to have the main points. And then there is something that I always say: you need to have eye for dog, and you need to train your eye. The more you judge, the more you learn. I always say I learn every weekend. Every weekend we learn. Speaking with other judges, speaking especially with breeders, and like these small things that we have in our breeds, like I've told you, in bassets, the ear texture, the rib cages, and you learn, and you learn, and you also make mistakes, and you must be humble. You must be humble. Sometimes you arrive at a hotel in the end of the day, and you say, I don't know if I did a good job with this class or this, that, but that's, we are humans, and sometimes we make mistakes.
Yeah, but I think we have mentioned that few times. I think this is for the people who still care. When you come, as you say, when you come back and you think maybe I could have done this in a different way. When you think about it, it means that you still care. It means that you don't feel like, oh, I know everything and whatever I do is perfect. But you care, and I think that's a great thing for any judge. Even maybe you have done a mistake, maybe you didn't do a mistake, but I always think the most important thing is to see that the judge cares. When he comes in the ring, that he really tries to do a good job. Sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's not. Sometimes we all have things in our head, a good day or a bad day. But as long as you care and as long as you want to do it good, I think this is the most important thing. Talking about that, what would you say is the best part of judging, and what is the worst part of judging dogs?
The best part of judging dogs is judging. It's actually, when you're judging the breeds, and for me, the worst part are the dinners.
Yes.
The long dinners I hate.
Yeah, I can agree about that.
When we arrive and they say, "Oh, dinner, it's casual, and it's the time you want. You can come down and you have this and that." So that's great.
Yes.
And dinners at the hotel, when you don't need to travel to a restaurant, that we wait and wait and wait and wait, and you arrive late at the hotel. And sometimes nowadays, as an all-rounder, you have a lot of breeds, and you need to go over the standards and still go. And
yeah, that's true. I want to ask you another thing, Jose, and you have been in that position many times, and this is something that people always talk a lot, and I want to ask from your personal experience. Uh, of course, you are famous as a breeder. You are famous as a judge. How difficult you think is for your colleagues when you show a dog under them, and in the same way, how difficult it's for you when somebody who is your colleague, a famous judge or a breeder, shows under you? Is that in a way a bit difficult, or you just don't care?
I don't care. I don't care. I judge dogs, and the end of the leash, it's not a problem for me. And I also, when I'm showing under other judges, for instance, something that I couldn't do ever is to show a bad dog to a colleague. If I'm showing a dog, it must be a good dog. All dogs have faults, of course, but it must be a good dog. I would never show a bad dog under a colleague. Never.
But did it happen? Did it happen to you that a colleague has shown a bad dog under you?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
But I always say, if they didn't like it, that's their problem. Don't.
That's true. Yeah. Well, these are these are the things that we all pass. Anyhow, let me see here a few comments. Runi Aqua Christiansen saying, when I entered for a show, I asked for that judge opinion, so I choose to ask for it. So should take it, win or lose. Francesco Cocchetti saying, especially when you fight with someone who do a mess when you order food. So yes, these are the. Gabriela Lavati saying it's always fun to listen to Jose's stories, a great gentleman and a judge. I want to ask you, Jose, we have been speaking for 1 hour and 50 minutes. The time is flying always when you have an interesting guest. And we had, I hope that later on you will manage to watch the interview because obviously I didn't manage to read all the comments, but we had 160 comments for the moment and 21 shares of the interview. So it has been really a lot of people, and I'm always happy about that. So later on you can check it and see all the comments. If you would need to give an advice to somebody young who wants to become successful as a handler or a breeder or a judge, and just wants to, in a way, to start with the dog world, which advice would you give to that person?
You learn with your mistakes. So I would say, if you wanted a certain breed, go speak with the breeders. Go to shows, see the dogs that have been showed, speak with the breeders, speak where you can have a nice foundation bitch and start with that. Because, as I've told you in the beginning of the interview, most of us start with bad dogs. So we lost, at least 4 or 5 years, because when you start with the dog, so it's so important to start with good quality, and that's something that we also need to do. Give these young people advices, and so to take them to the good road, and so they can start with nice quality, with producing nice dogs. I think
this is something, Jose, that I was talking to when I started to talk about.
Snoring.
Don't worry, we don't hear it. Don't worry. But she's so cute. She has been enjoying 2 hours laying on you and not doing
she
anything.
loves to be here.
Yeah. When I started to do this project 25, and I started to talk with these young people because I was curious in a way, to hear their experience. The problem in general today is that they can still reach, when they come to the show, these young people, they can reach professional handlers, they can reach some breeders, exhibitors, but they cannot reach the judges. There is no way for young people to get to speak with judges who are only going to the shows and judging. So I think this was, in a way, one of the great things of these interviews, that we could give them the possibility to hear from these people who are amazing and who has incredible experience and passion for dogs. But we need to give a way to learn from these people, because we can reach the people around the rings, but we cannot reach the people inside of the ring. So I am always incredibly thankful, and also to you, Jose, and all the people who have accepted my invitation, to come here and to talk about your experiences, to be honest, to say, I made the mistake here, I made the mistake there, because this is how we all learn. So I think it's amazing opportunity. So connected a little bit with that, and we spoke before we went online. My last question of the night for you, Jose, after speaking 2 hours, are you optimistic about the future of the sport? What do you think that needs to be done? What do you think that we are doing wrong at the moment? In general, let's say in 10 years, how do you see how the things will look like?
We must act. We are having a lot of attacks from the animalists. So, as I've told before, we must think that we are living in the 21st century. The way of life is different. The people see dogs in a different way. So we must to promote. We are not politicians. Politicians, they think on a different way. We have a sport. So we need to promote our dogs, and we need to promote our sports. And as I told before, we need to open the dog sport and the dog's activities, not only shows, but I'm talking about hunting crews, I'm talking about rescue dogs, I'm talking about all the activities related with the dog. We need to promote them, and to go to the media and to promote all these sports, to give the information to the public that we need pedigree dogs. Our ancestors, they create these breeds with a target, and this is important, because otherwise we will lose a huge potential. So we need to open. I think that we need to open the minds of the people and saying, come on, breeders, and also we need to promote breeders that are breeding on the right way. Because the problem also is that a lot of people are connecting breeders to puppy farms. And that's not the same seed, totally different.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
We are having a lot of problems, not because of us. Okay, some breeders made faults, producing, dogs with health problems, but that's better nowadays. But we have been touched by a lot of problems that were not created by breeders, but by puppy farms.
I agree.
And something that we must to tell the people and to go to the media, and when people buy a puppy, to help them, the kennel clubs must help the people to buy dogs from responsible breeders.
Yeah,
because
I agree with you.
I don't know what's happening in your country, but in Portugal, if you go to a rescue kennel, most of the dogs, but most, I don't know how much the difference is. Are dogs, dogs not breed dogs, are dogs street dogs,
Yeah, mixed breeds, yes.
street dogs. Now, it's rare to find a pedigree dog on a rescue kennel.
Yeah, absolutely. This is something that this is also one of the things that I was always saying, that we need to have the people to understand that responsible breeders, they take care of these dogs since the moment they are born till the moment they die. And
Yeah,
this is why these people don't finish in the rescue, because if somebody buys a puppy from you and doesn't want it anymore, he will not bring it to the rescue or put it on the street. He will first reach to you and try to give it back to you and find kind of thing. And this is thing that we need to share. I
I'm
want to,
saying,
yeah,
when people are coming, and I always say, because normally, most of my dogs, they go to breeders and to responsible people. But I'm always selling, because I'm not I breed also pet dogs. I also
of
breed
course,
pets,
like
and
everybody.
I
Yeah,
also tell the people, if you ever have a problem, bring it back.
yeah. This is what we need to say. Anyhow, I will give you. I will read few more comments for the end of this interview, Jose, and I will give you the last word of the interview. I just want to say two things before we finish this. First of all, of course, I want to thank to all the people who are watching. In 2 hours, 173 comments, which I think it's amazing. When I started to do this project 25, and I will there a little bit agree, not a little bit, but completely agree with you, Jose. I think that nowadays with the young generations, we have a lot of young people who talk, I want to become a handler, because they think this is something nice. You put a nice suit and you win best in show and everybody looks at you and makes photos. I have a lot of young people who say, oh, I would like to be a judge, because they think, okay, that's also very nice. You put a suit, you travel all around the world, you sleep in expensive hotels and so on and so on. But very, very small number of young people say, I want to be a breeder. And this is something actually that bothers me a lot, because I think we don't emphasize enough the fact that there are no dog shows without dogs. And if we want to have a dog shows, we need breeders, because without breeders there are no dogs, and without dogs there are no dog shows. So starting with you today, and that has been actually my idea, I started a serial of 5 interviews with, let's say, master breeders, people who have bred amazing quality of dogs. I'm extremely happy that you have been my first guest, and I can say now that next Wednesday my guest will be breeder, owner, handler of Wasabi, the Pekingese, David Fitzpatrick from the USA, USA's top dog all breeds for 2020, amazing breeder of the Pekingese. Then the Wednesday after that, I'm going to have people from Almanza Kennel from Sweden. The Wednesday after that, I'm going to have Francesco Cocchetti, another amazing breeder. And then the last interview in January will be Mike Gadsby from Afterglow Kennels. So I think really 5 top master breeders from all around the world. And I'm sure that people will enjoy these interviews as much as they enjoyed yours. I want to say also that because of the situation with the coronavirus and many people spending their time home alone, without family, without guests, without friends, we are having a kind of a virtual New Year's Eve party tomorrow, 6 p.m. Croatian time. A lot of top people from the dog world, including Jose, made short videos with the reflection on 2020 and with the good wishes for 2021. So I hope many of you will join us tomorrow when, in a way, we make a virtual dog party for the end of 2020. Jose, there are a few more comments that I want to read. Joao Vasco Poca saying, great interview, happy new year, folks. Martina Leroux-Clot is saying, outstanding interview, thank you, gentlemen, enjoyed so much listening to both of you. Agree, we need to get the younger generation into the sport. Happy new year from Africa. Julie is saying, yet another extremely interesting, exciting interview, such wonderful views and information. The lovely adorable lady on Mr. Jose Homem de Mello's lap was certainly an added bonus. Loved her. Thank you again, Ante and team. Happy New Year, everyone. Francesco Cochetti saying well spoken with the breeder passion. Mikael Nilsson saying lovely evening, Happy New Year. Patricia Nemirovsky, the Alcina saying we need to learn from AR people and unite ourselves to oppose a united front. Sabine is saying very interesting interview. Thank you and Happy New Year. Anna Lucia Saletti saying Happy New Year. Gwen Ford saying the FCI and all kennel clubs around the world need to be on the front foot and be media smart with the promotion of purebred dogs. Sue Jolly saying very sensible approach to promoting all dog activities and supporting responsible breeders to ensure the longevity of the dog world. Franca Leporati saying once again a great conversation, so enlightening and so delightful at the same time. Thank you, gentlemen, for the lovely time I'm having listening to you. A privilege indeed. Rui Alves saying Kennel Club need to have a strategy and communication campaign and unite the sport in all its activities. We must unite around the dog and communicate well to the society. Mia Sangren saying great again, thank you. Annika Utveit Moe saying more people like you in the dog world should make the dog world better. Francesco Cochetti saying and junior handlers should start to work in the kennels and collecting poo of dogs. This is the way to be in contact with dogs. Well said, Ante. Young people like to be judges, but not breeders. Let me see. Kalena, thank you so much for sharing all your knowledge, wisdom, and insight into breeding and dogs. I hope to have the opportunity to meet you one day because I'd love to talk with you and learn more. So a lot of people, there are many other comments. Andrea is saying, I thank you so much for the interesting 2 hours. Ante, thank you so much for your time and your open-minded knowledge you share with us. Jose Homem de Mello, Happy New Year 2021. See you next year. Valentina Jupan saying, missing being behind this camera. Great interview. We miss you too, Valentina, but I'm sure that you are not missing it so much, spending a time in Miami where the weather is amazing. Claudio De Giuliani saying nice evening, have a nice 2021, all of you. Don Ratmel is saying great interview, my friend, and stay safe and hope Ante no more quakes. Happy New Year to all. So a lot of great comments, Jose. I hope that I hope that Teresa, after all the nice things you said about her tonight, is preparing you a nice dinner.
I hope so.
Yes. So you can have a nice meal after this. I have really enjoyed it. People have really enjoyed it, and this is absolutely the most important. We are ending this interview, Jose, with 98 comments, which is absolutely amazing. Thank you all for watching, and I'm leaving the last words to you, Jose, to say something as my last guest in 2020.
First of all, thank you for the great honor, Ante. It was a pleasure to spend here 2 hours with you. And what I hope and I pray, it's that all the breeders from all around the world promote our sport, and that we will leave to future generations something that we love. And that's the main thing. Breeding dogs, healthy dogs, and a great sport. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jose. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Tomorrow, 6 p.m. Croatian time, we are meeting online for a virtual celebration of Happy New Year with the messages from some top people, dog people from all around the world. Good night, everyone, and see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.